Hello, I'm Joe, otherwise known as Mr. Fragrance on YouTube, and this is the first episode of Scent Stories, a new podcast that I've created where hopefully I'll just be talking to content creators, perfumers, people that are influential in this community of fragrance lovers, talking to them, asking them questions about how they got into the job that they're in, or how they got into YouTube, or how they came across fragrances and what made them love them so much. It's going to be really, really good fun. I really look forward to speaking to people, and today I spoke to the wonderful Gabby from the FRAGRANTICIan YouTube channel. You may know her. I picked her when I thought I needed a first guest, someone that would be happy, smiley, jolly, someone that I really appreciate on YouTube and absolutely loved her personality. I knew I had to go for Gabby. So that's the first interview, and this is going to be the first guest on this podcast, and that is Gabby. I'd just like to declare a couple of things before we move into that, and that are to do with the quality in this podcast of audio anyway. Currently, I'm not using the mic that I intended on using. I'm using a very low quality mic currently. I have a very high quality mic that I would like to use, but there's a couple of niggling issues right now that I need to get sorted before I can properly start bumping up this quality of audio. In the call, everything's done where we're separate ends of the country. It's all done over the internet. All this interviewing is done over the internet, so when I'm talking to Gabby there are slight delays in audio, and there's also a really the quality of my voice isn't as good as it could be, but it will improve. I will make sure it gets better, and for now I hope you can deal with the current audio quality that there is. But for now, enjoy the interview I had with the wonderful Gabby from the FRAGRANTICIan. Hello, Gabby. How are you?
Hello there, Joe. I'm good, thank you very
I'm
much.
glad. I heard you just had your vaccine in today, which is great news.
Yes,
Signs of moving
I have. I
forward.
had it this morning and I've had no repercussions whatsoever, which is absolutely brilliant so
Good,
far. So,
good.
yeah,
Long may that
all
last.
good.
Long may that last. Well,
Hopefully, yes.
exactly. Yeah. Well, I'm chuffy. I'm chuffed you said yes to coming on this, and I knew you would because you're such a smiley, happy lady, and to his viewers, and that's something that made me really think. Well, the first person on this podcast has to really be Gabby. And
Oh, thank you. And I feel honoured. I really do.
well, I'm so glad you came on, because I think ever since first seen a video with you in it, you just got this really happy, upbeat persona, and it's great to have you on. So I'm very glad you came on. So
Thank
thank you.
you.
Um,
Thank you.
well, I came across your YouTube channel when I was fairly new to it all as well, and we'll talk about that later as
Right.
well. But I'd love to start with a bit more kind of background, looking into maybe your past experiences with fragrances.
Yeah.
Um, because I know you've been involved in a lot of things in the kind of fragrance beauty side of things as well,
Yeah.
which I'm sure a lot of the listeners will be interested in as well. So to
Yeah.
start off with kind of your background and start on the kind of the railroad of fragrances, I'll just ask you a simple question. What is your first experience
Yeah.
with fragrances?
I would say probably when I was very, very small, as a child. I've always loved fragrances anyway, but my first memory scent, probably of a fragrance, was of my grandmother, because she wore a lot of fragrance, and my grandmother was fairly glamorous, I suppose,
Hmm.
really. She was a typical matriarch, but very glamorous. And I always remember her saying to me, always go out and put a little bit of lipstick on and a little bit of fragrance,
Hmm.
and it kind of like stuck with me. And she was quite a woman, my grandmother was. So
Yeah.
she had quite a big role model in my life as well, I think. So because part of my life she brought me up.
Mm.
So yeah, so that was probably my first very fragrance scent memory was of her. And actually today, my scent of the day actually is by Guerlain, and it's L'Herbe Bleue, and it's a scent that my grandmother wore.
Oh, is it?
And yes, and so it has a very nostalgic memory attached to me. So I wear it if I want to feel comforted or feel cozy. So
Yeah.
so yeah, so I'm wearing this for the podcast today.
Great. No, that's so. It's nice to. it's always nice when someone kind of has a background connection in terms of family to fragrances.
Yes,
Like I can't, to be honest, I can't say I've got too much connection in terms of grandparents or anything with fragrances. It's,
yeah,
if anything, it's been my dad. I mean,
right,
my mum's quite interested in fragrances as well, but I'd like
right.
to apologize in advance if you mention any female perfumes or feminine perfumes. Um,
That's
my
okay.
ignorance is going to be quite large in terms of in
That's fine.
that little park. But so yeah, your gran is kind of responsible for this love of fragrances, would you say?
Yes, yes. And then as I grew older, probably into my teenage years, I had a little bit of a I haven't had traumatic childhood, but by
Mhm.
no means. But going through things in life you do as a teenager, I kind of went through that, and it wasn't really till really my early 20s when I kind of revisited fragrance, I suppose.
Mm.
And I have a really good friend of mine, Victoria, who I'm godmother to her two children. And I always remember, going out in my 20s, clubbing like we do, and
Mhm.
finding myself and wearing fragrances from Cacharel and
Yeah,
Lancôme and, those old school fragrances, which we like to call back in the day. And I think
of
those kind of
course.
fragrances are, a bit forgotten now, but I still have them. So, yeah, I kind of like did that, and yeah, and the rest is history, as they
Yeah,
say.
and as you said, you're wearing one today. I was going to ask if you ever feel like there's a fragrance that kind of has too much of a nostalgic feeling in your heart for you to actually wear it? Like, does it bring back?
Yeah, I probably would actually say it's by Cacharel, because I had such really, really well, I had really, really happy times. They were bittersweet times. They were
Yeah.
in my early to mid 20s. They were really bittersweet. Um, but I would say I don't think I would really go back to wearing Cacharel Anais or again. That said, though, I do have another Cacharel fragrance from that I do wear, which is called Eden, which is another strong fragrance, and I still have it to this day from 1998, believe it or not. So, yeah,
Is it the same bottle
it's
or is it
still with me. It's yes, it's
wow?
in the same bottle. Yes, it's a real vintage formulation. And so yeah, I still will wear that, but Anais, or as some people say, Ana by Cacharel, that I just cannot wear now because that has a such a bittersweet memory with me. I won't wear that one.
Okay.
So, but I still have it stored away. I still have the original bottle stored away, but
Hmm.
I won't wear it now. So
And is that in case of like ruining? Well, I guess if you said bittersweet, so it's yeah. So it could in case be ruining maybe a good memory or bringing back a maybe not so much a nice memory.
yes, yes, yeah, I think so. And also my noses change. Our noses change as we get older as well.
Hmm. Of course, yeah.
It's such a floral fragrance, such a spicy floral fragrance. It's got hyacinth in, so you really have to love hyacinth
Hmm.
in it, and it's got that spiciness to it as well. As I said, I wouldn't wear an A&A anymore, even though it was a quite a vintage fragrance back in the
Hmm.
90s. It was made in the late 70s. So even then, it probably could be deemed as quite a vintage fragrance back then, being quite a
Yeah.
floral fragrance. So it's just something I'll never wear anymore now.
Okay. Yeah. Well, the issue I would have thought I might have, and I know that this is kind of I'm basically just trying to match that with the way I feel is that I think that as you said, your nose develops as you get older.
Yeah,
Um, and it's almost like I feel like I want to try and evolve my kind of my fragrance interests so that things do change and I can look back and have fond memories. But I think that
yeah,
I want to be able to look back, have fond memories, and think I wouldn't wear that now, but I enjoyed it whilst I did. I enjoyed it whilst it lasted.
yes, yes, yeah,
And
exactly.
yeah, and as you said, you have bittersweet memories with certain fragrances, and I think that's
Yeah, and
whatever you've gone
it's
through
with
could.
it's with all of us, you know. I mean, my friend
Hmm.
Victoria, she used to wear Trésor by Lancôme, and now she won't. That was the original one that came out in 1990, you know, before all of the other flankers, you know, that Lancôme have flooded with us with. And she used to wear
Yeah.
that, but now she won't wear it anymore because it was associated with that time for her, and she won't wear it anymore, like you say.
Yeah. Well, I could see it's a shame, but in other ways, I think it's actually quite. I think it's quite a. I think it's quite a good thing. I think in some senses it is quite a good thing because it keeps things fresh, doesn't it? And it keeps it interesting
Yes,
and
yes,
new things coming along.
yes,
Anyway, well,
exactly.
can we move on to a little bit more about from watching your videos? You've traveled a lot, and is
Yes.
it Paris in France that you were? You talk about your
Yes,
time in
I lived in France. I lived in Paris. I lived in the south as well. I travelled all
France.
over France, doing a completely different type of job back then in like the late 90s.
Yeah,
And it was at a time in my life, I suppose, I used to wear, and I still wear actually, Angel by Thierry Mugler.
yeah.
And that is a fragrance that has stayed with me and will probably stay with me, um,
Hmm.
because I kind of discovered myself through that fragrance,
Right.
um,
Okay.
because it embodied and still embodies me to a certain point of who I was, who I am. And yeah, and I enjoyed the job that I did. It was, you know, a very different job to what I do now.
Yeah.
And since then, after I came back from France, I met my now husband, got married, um,
Hmm.
and yeah, and I trained as a beauty therapist, and it's been 19 years now. I've been working as a beauty
Wow.
therapist, and
Congratulations.
well, thank you. I find therapists in general, they either stay in the job for 6 months or they stay in it for a lifetime. It's that kind
Yeah.
of role. And it's a role you can easily go back into as well because you have that
Okay.
training. It never leaves you. It's like nursing or teaching. It's a bit of a vocation.
Hmm.
So I'm still now, despite COVID-19, everything, the past year and everything, working or, you know, as a therapist or, well, not as a therapist at the moment, but I've
Hmm.
still been working with beauty and retail, but now moving on to another role now where I can hopefully get back into beauty therapy and do what I love because
Yeah.
what I love is working with my hands and that's what I miss.
Yeah. Of course. Of course. And everyone sacrifices so much now, and I could just imagine how amazing it'll be once you're able to get back into that.
Yes.
With beauty, I'm very, very ignorant on this subject. I've the only experience I've ever had is having a massage, to be honest. And I'm
Right.
sorry if that's not even included
No,
I guess it isn't really included
no, it
in.
is. It is included in beauty therapy.
Is it right? Okay. Well, what what is there like a kind of tier thing that you go through? Do you start in makeup or do you start in uh,
Yeah.
have you had an experience of starting somewhere and ending up elsewhere?
Well, I initially only ever wanted to do massage. That's all I ever wanted to do. Um,
Hmm.
and when I came back from France, I actually one of the jobs that I actually did in France, I did a variety of different jobs, but one of the jobs I did in France is I looked after a little girl, um,
Okay.
Margot. Yes, believe it or not, I looked after children, and
Wow.
yes, I know I've had many roles, and I was with a family. I was with a family in Normandy in France, working on a big
Wow.
farm, and the mother owned a beauty salon. And I used to help at that salon, just reception, just doing little bits and pieces then. And
Yeah.
um, and it was then really that I thought to myself, yes, I really want to take this further. I really, you know, I think everything in life happens for a reason. Everything in life should happen organically, you know. So
Hmm.
I just, it kind of like found me, I suppose. And from there on, I then came back to the UK, did my training. There are different ways you can do it, but I did it through like a formal training. With
Okay.
VTCT, which is a national body here in the UK, and it's also internationally recognised as well, with my BTEC and iTech qualifications. So I did a level 2 and then a level 3. Level 2 just comprised of makeup, all the beautician side of beauty therapy, whereas level 3
Yeah.
comprises of body massage, Swedish massage. I did deep tissue massage, reflexology,
Right.
nail
Yeah.
extensions. I did then I did nail extensions, and I always had a bit of a confliction, thinking, well, do I go down the beauty route or do I go down the holistic route? But I'm one of those probably therapists that you can just throw anything at me, and I kind of just like to do it. I'm very
Hmm.
adaptable and versatile in that respect. So yeah, so I just love everything that happens that I do with beauty.
Yeah. Well, again, as I said, I don't know too much about it, but as you said, you are quite, well, you're not just quite. It sounds like you're very, very experienced in the world of kind of massaging, or
Yeah.
I can never say the word right, as a masseuse. Is that right? Masseuse? You have
Masseuse,
to add a
or just a massage therapist. Just a massage
massage therapist.
therapist.
Okay.
Yes. If you're working in a place like, if I don't know where you had your massage, if you went to somewhere like a spa, then you'd probably have therapists that probably just do massage. But unfortunately, as a massage therapist, your life can be cut short if you don't take care of your body, because
Hmm.
it is hard work. It's not only physically hard work, it's mentally exhausting as well. You're dealing with a lot of
Yes. Yeah.
people. You're dealing, fortunately, I've been very fortunate to have worked in five-star establishments where you're dealing with all types of people. So you have to be on your guard at all time doing
Hmm.
massage, and you have to listen to people's needs and listen to what they're saying to you. That's the thing. I think today as society are too quick to, um, not in general, but they just don't, people just don't listen nowadays.
No.
And I think, I, although I'm, 49 nearly, sometimes I do feel I've got a bit of an old soul on me. And sorry if I'm just gabbing away now like I
No,
do,
this
but
is this is what we're here for. This is what we're here for. No, no, it's great. You said you don't know where I actually, my mum trained as she did, right, she did massage therapy. She did massage therapy and aromatherapy. I don't know
right,
if it was in
yes,
university or if it was after university. She's later on she's completely moved away from that, but she still loves it and she's very good at massages. But she generally isn't the one that if I ever have a massage, she's not the one that does it to me. I actually
right,
She actually uses a lot of her friends that stayed in the business and have created their own
right,
businesses or work for other companies.
yes,
And yeah, I, it's, I can tell, whenever I speak to them, it is that's mentally drained,
yes,
um, because I think quite often I know that a lady in particular, I know she's often with learning to deal with really tricky customers, or customers that are going through a lot and have special needs in particular places. Again, I don't know too much about this, but as you said, it can be quite draining. And
yes,
what
it
you're doing
can be.
now, is that any easier in terms of kind of
Well,
stress or?
I kind of like to make my job role varied. I think that's probably why I don't, well, I am, it's hard to say because I enjoy spa therapy. I absolutely love spa therapy, and massage it does come with the territory with this job, but it depends on the place
Mhm.
where you work as well. Fortunately, there are some spas out there that don't just do massage. So I do like my day to be varied. So, for example,
Yes.
my day can consist of maybe a massage. My ideal day would be just, one massage maybe, and all different sorts of treatments. But because I'm
Hmm.
qualified in different treatments, I do like to keep my hand in all those different treatments. So in the job role
Yeah.
that I'm doing, I like to be doing those varied treatments, not just massage. So I do enjoy doing facials. I love skincare. Actually, I really do love skincare. And like you said with your mum, training in aromatherapy. I trained in aromatherapy as well. So aromatherapy is linked with fragrance as well, obviously, because of
Yes. Yeah.
essential oils. So I always had an interest in essential oils and how they not only just benefited the skin but benefited the mind psychologically as well.
Hmm.
So yeah, so I do like, as I say, my day to be varied and do all sorts of different treatments.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's then see if we can, well, slightly move it back to fragrances in terms of
Yeah,
you have worked in, as you said, many different things and many, I imagine, establishments as well. Have you much experience in working for companies that actually distribute or sell fragrances, create fragrances?
I have worked not necessarily with well, I have worked for a company in the past that well, again, that was a skincare company, which
Hmm.
was Declior. I don't know if you've heard of Declior, have you? No, it's a
Um,
French
Not
skincare
quite, no.
company. It's a
No.
French skincare company. They're quite big in France in salons and spas. Obviously, it's an aromatherapy brand. So
Hmm.
I worked in a managerial role with them, but I've
Right,
also
okay.
worked in a managerial role as a store manager that sold fragrances as well about 5 years ago. So I did take a bit of a break from beauty therapy then, and I did that for a short while. However, for me, because it was more working in sales, it was more driven towards sales than it was more driven to um, fragrance and how it worked, the ethos behind the brand and all of that. So
Yeah.
I decided to move away and still go back into beauty therapy because obviously beauty therapy has always been my calling. So,
Yes. Yeah.
but that said, probably, fragrance has, because I've always loved fragrance, that's probably started me on my journey, I suppose, then with my YouTube channel.
Yes. Well, that's a brilliant segue to move into then, isn't it?
Yes.
So that's how at least I discovered you and many other people that I know involving in this community did discover you. So just before you created your YouTube channel, was there, what time did you start first kind of discover or start watching fragrance related content on YouTube?
I would say last year, actually, my husband and I, and I've said this in a video before because I've talked about it before, we were on holiday in
Hmm.
Scotland, actually, in Scotland,
All right.
near Inverness, actually. We travelled all the way up
Very
to
nice.
there. This was it
Yes,
end
quite a
of
distance.
July? Yes, from Southampton. That is quite a distance, let me tell
Wow.
you.
Yeah.
Um, we did stop off overnight, but anyway, cut long story
Right. Yeah.
short, my dad, my husband, and I, we just took a week away. We were meant to go abroad last year, but we couldn't, obviously, with COVID and everything.
No.
And the lockdown restrictions were eased, I think. Nicola Sturgeon, I think it was from the 15th of July, I think Scotland was reopened. You could
Yes, there was a
reopen
period
again.
of,
Yes. So
yeah.
we went at the end of July, and we had a cottage there. It was very peaceful, very relaxing,
Nice.
very tranquil. Um, my
Mhm.
husband took his drone with him, which is another
Oh
story.
wow, wow.
Yeah, which is another story. And I was watching YouTube like you do, in bed
Hmm.
one night, and I just saw. I thought, well, because I love beauty and fragrance, I saw a couple of YouTubers. Cassandra Jones, who's in
Yes, do
Alabama,
live with
and
her.
Dawn from Bougie Fragrance, who's in Florida. And I was watching it and I said to my husband, look at this lady here. she's talking about fragrance. I've really wanted to do this for a long time. And of course,
Mhm.
I just had a bit of a light bulb moment and thought, well,
Mm,
I think I could do this. I'm pretty sure I could, yeah. And it just, and when we came back home, it was around about end of August, beginning of September, it's about another month later, because I still debated it. I was still having an inner debate within myself, always overthinking things I do. But I thought,
yes.
no, I'm just going to do it. And one night, I think it was a Saturday evening, 1st of September, I think it was the 1st of September, I just watched how to edit YouTube videos, how to upload a YouTube video, and I just went for it.
Hmm.
And that's it. And I just did it.
Amazing. Wow,
So,
it was quite a spontaneous, well, built over a while, but quite a spontaneous decision in the end.
yes, it was. It was. And I've never looked back.
No, it's great. Well, so you didn't even have that kind of like, that moment that I had when you sit down and you go, right, okay, well now I've got to come up with a name. Did you,
Yes.
did you have to talk to friends or family, or did you just go
I
fragrantician?
just did it myself. Being a beauty therapist, I mean, in America, they use the word esthetician for beauty. So I thought,
Okay.
right, I'm going to do a bit of a spin on that and call myself the fragrantician, because
Yeah.
titian, like an esthetician, a
Hmm.
beautician, it kind of like you either get it or you don't. And I did have another title, but I thought, no, I'm just going to go with this. I know some people do have how do you pronounce your name? So I know Pat from perfumes. I love the way she says the word fragrance. She says fragrance. So sometimes she calls me the fragrantician, and I love it.
Yes, yeah. It's great.
I think it's really great, because we've got all these different cultures that have all these different accents, and I just love that diversity. And so I just went with that name, and I spoke to my husband, and I said, "Do you think that's good?" And he was like, "Yeah, that's good," because I had another name. I said, "No, choose that," and I just
Yeah,
went with that. So there
it's
we
brilliant.
go.
This great. I'm jealous now. No one's ever gonna accidentally call my name something else. Ah, no one's ever gonna mispronounce Mister or fragrance. Um, and that's a completely different story. I was called something completely different before discovering that there was actually another channel called a
Right,
much bigger channel.
right. Oh,
Oh, that's a
right.
very different
Oh,
story that
right.
probably shouldn't go into. He was great about it. It was someone else that wasn't so cheery about it.
Oh, that's a
But
shame.
no, that's a different story. So I'm not calling out anyone in this. So you made the channel and you came up with this brilliant name that, related to your past and things you still do now.
Yes,
And like you said, you never look back. You're now nearing, you're what, 477 subscribers, nearing
yes,
500 subscribers.
yes.
It's great.
And
All these people.
I don't get me wrong. I mean, I think having the subscribers is
Yes.
absolutely great. And I really do can't emphasize this enough. I want my channel to grow. I want all of our channels to grow organically, to grow
Of course. Yeah.
naturally, because
Yeah.
there are, you can buy followers, you can buy subscribers, and
Yeah.
then you'll never see them for dust. So for me,
Yeah, it's a waste of money.
but it's a waste of time. And people, not everybody, obviously, I'm just generalizing, but some people stay want everything
Mhm.
now. They want it, at the click of a finger. And YouTube doesn't work like that.
No, no, no.
It's a marathon, not a sprint. That's what I keep saying to myself.
Absolutely.
When I have a bit of a down day, I think I've got my YouTube channel. It's a marathon, not a sprint. It's and as I've been as we've well, your journey as well. Both of us we're new YouTubers, but we are even now growing, evolving,
Yeah.
and having it is a camaraderie. The fragrance community. I've worked in the beauty industry, but the fragrance community on YouTube, I have not come across anything negative in my history.
No.
Nothing whatsoever. Everything is professional. Everybody is professional, and it's I think it's wonderful that we have this community and we have this platform to do this. And even though there are a lot of us, we're not saturated at all. It's still growing, and it's,
No,
it's
no.
still completely, it's quite mind blowing, actually. I mean, setting up my
Yeah.
YouTube channel, I I just did it myself, all the editing and that. I'm still new to editing. So I
Okay.
just,
Yeah.
and my videos, they're not the best videos, but I do things in one
Yeah.
take. I have to do it in one take. Yeah, I might, do some little bit of intermissions or here and there, but it has to be one take. I can't,
Okay. Yeah.
it's just the way I am. It's just the way I work. So, and
Yeah.
I do it off the cuff, and as you can probably tell, I'm quite spontaneous.
Yeah. Yeah. No, well, I think that's the best way to do it, really, as you said. I mean, there's the thing about you and your YouTube channel is it's the positivity that you just get from it, the happiness, that vibes that you get
Yeah,
from you are just, and it adds to this really, really lovely feeling. It's a community, and I know it can seem, I don't know, to use a kind of like overused modern term, cringe. I know it can
yeah,
seem cringe when you say um all these that you kind of making friends and things like that. But at the same time, it is nice because I'm meeting people. I've got you from Southampton down in England, and then we've got what Smelly Swedes
in Sweden, yes,
in other countries in Europe,
yes.
um other
Paula
countries that
Bianca
in
from
Europe and across
Iceland,
the
yeah.
world. Exactly, exactly. And you just meet people from, as you said, you've oh God, sorry, I forgot her name now. You meet people in America, Alabama. What's her name
Cassandra
again?
Jones, yes, yes,
Cassandra
Cassandra,
Jones. That's it. That's
yes,
it.
and Dawn in
Yeah.
Florida. You've got Francis in Canada. You've got our own, Claire Smurfy Gurley here in the UK.
Mm,
And actually, I have
yeah.
to give a little bit of a thank you and to our buzzer, Barry Centralized, because
Of
actually,
course, I was going to mention him.
it was through him that I found you. So,
Was it
yes,
right?
it
Okay.
was. It was
Yeah.
from, yes, because obviously, he posts from time to time new and upcoming YouTubers, and
Yes.
and
Brilliant videos.
and I watched your channel and well, your video, and I thought to myself, wow, for a young guy, you have such a wealth of knowledge, and it
Thank you.
no, it really is. It's refreshing. That's the word, refreshing. Yeah, I mean, I
Thank
mean,
you
I
very
don't know how
much.
old you are, but you're a lot younger than I am. But you're just refreshing to watch, and I thought to myself, yes, that guy is going to go far.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
Thank you
you're
very much. Thank you.
welcome.
That is very nice. That is very nice. And I'm my knowledge is compared to yours, it is very minimal. I can guarantee you that. I mean, this is just an interest of mine that I've had since it all came from a very cheap bottle of Adidas spray on whatever that I got when I was, I don't know, five or something,
Right.
and it all came from that. I've just loved fragrances. I know I mentioned to you before we started this. I work at Heritage Railway, and it's a smell of oil and burning coal. Now I'm very much for the climate and protecting the environment. So this is something I need to think about.
Yeah.
But in terms of smells, the smell of burning coal is an incredible smell that I've loved and it's stuck with me since
Wow.
God, I don't
Yeah.
know, toddler. And my dad bringing me to railways around the UK, it's and again, it's just these familiar smells that just kind of I don't quite it elevates life in a very in a simple way. To smell nice can genuinely change your mood for the day, or
Exactly.
or it can help at least it can help it give you confidence.
Yes.
People talk about compliments, and I rarely receive a compliment, especially now.
Right.
But I rarely ever receive a compliment for a fragrance, but I wear it because I know that I have friends that enjoy the smell of fragrances, and I know that I can talk to them about something that smells nice. And I just know that if I go out in a perfume or a fragrance that I enjoy,
Yeah.
I'll get wishes of it throughout the day and I'll just go, that's nice.
Yes.
They
Yes.
bought that.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. A fragrance can make or break you. It really can.
Yeah.
You can. I always think to myself, if I'm smelling something, if it doesn't feel right, no matter how much you try to like it, you're not going to like it, you know. But then
Mm,
that said, there are some things that you 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 get to appreciate, you know, that smell. And
yes, yeah,
I think that's what it is. You know, fragrance is so subjective. It doesn't matter if you like it, the next person may not
definitely.
like it. You know, that's just an opinion. And that's all that matters, really.
Exactly. I must say, I'll add to that. I totally agree about generally, if you smell something that you dislike, you most likely aren't going to end up liking it. But I have one example that completely counters that,
Right.
and it's unbelievable. I bought it from TK Maxx because I was interested in the TV show Peaky Blinders, and I'm going
Right.
to do a review on it at some point
Yeah.
soon. And it's some cheap Peaky Blinders fragrance, and I smelt it at first, and I really did not like it.
Right.
It was very different. It wasn't anything like you get in your general designer fragrance. It wasn't sweet and fluffy or anything. It wasn't anything like that. It was quite. It smelled like alcohol. It was boozy, but it had this amber note to it, which I just didn't think went well with
Right.
the alcohol
Right.
smell.
Yes.
And I can tell you now, there's it's really honestly it's very odd because it's combating now for in my top five fragrances. I don't know
Wow.
how. I honestly don't know how, but my opinion on it has just completely changed.
Yeah.
Completely. And I don't know how or I don't know why, but I decided to go back to it a couple of months later and I thought, oh, that's a little bit different to how I remember it
Yes.
being.
Yes.
And tried it a few more times and really started to enjoy it.
Yes.
Really started to
Yes.
enjoy it. So, but I do agree with, as you said, it's in general, I did a little haul of some samples of Amouage and the fragrances that I disliked when I first smelled them, I still dislike now. And the
Yes.
fragrances that I like then, I'm pretty
Yeah,
happy
I
with
do
now. So
remember there was a
it's
reaction you had to one of them that was very barnyardy, very zoo-like. Yeah. Yeah.
Figment. Honestly, it's like walking into in a rhino enclosure at a zoo.
Wow.
It's
Obviously
ridiculous.
very animalic.
Identical. It
Yes.
was awful. Very, very. And yeah, that's again it's a different topic and we're here to talk to you. I don't want to be taking up the time that
That's
we have with
okay.
you. But no. Well, let's move on to something that well, I guess I'll use my experience to then hopefully lead into
Okay.
what your idea is. When I made my YouTube channel, I one kind of big decision I had to come to terms with a little bit was that, once you make a video and you post it live on YouTube, it's there in the public eye and anyone can
Yeah.
see it. And quite often I find myself rewatching things and thinking, "Ooh, did I say that? Ooh, really? Did I say that? Did I make that face?" And thinking, I'm a, I overthink things, like you said, you do
Yes.
yourself, and I just think, what if this just gets clipped and replayed, or what if I do something? It's the internet. Something can go viral for no
Mm.
reason, and that's always in the back of my mind. So, did you ever think that, or do you ever slightly worry about maybe being cautious about what you
Well,
say, or or is just not something
well,
that
I'll
worries you?
answer probably that in two parts. Firstly,
Hmm.
I don't really have any I didn't when I made my first YouTube video, I that actually didn't go through my mind. I just did it. It was just like an automatic
Great.
reaction to just do it. I did not have any thoughts of, oh, what if this happens or what if that happens? I didn't have any of that whatsoever. It felt natural and it felt authentic to me to do it.
Hmm.
But since then, obviously, my husband, he's obviously, I always call my husband the better half of me, because I am that jovial, I am that fun loving, I am that, party girl. If I'm,
Yeah.
if there's a party, I'm, probably the first girl there and the last to leave. That's the type of girl I've always been. However,
Oh,
however,
it's a great
my
character. You want one of those.
well, well, as my husband, he really calms me. He's a really good calming influence on me. So he has said to me things
Okay.
in the past, oh, I don't know if you should say that, or maybe you should edit that
Okay.
out. And because I can swear like a trooper, I can be very, very ladylike, but swear, I can swear like RuPaul on RuPaul's Drag Race, like nobody's business. So,
Yes.
so I do have to watch myself sometimes. So, um, yeah, so he kind of is that calming influence. So since then, my style, I've still kept my style, but I try to not. It's hard. I know it is hard because I like to record in one take. It's so difficult. So I have to,
Hmm.
and I'm not working from script or anything like that. It's just off the cuff. I'm going. So,
Yeah.
so once it's there, I think to myself, oh well, I've come this far in life, not to have come this far. That's my philosophy. So if there's going
Hmm.
to be any repercussions, if there's any going to be any backlash, then I'll accept it. I'll accept responsibility. But I will always still, I feel I
Yeah.
still maintain a sense of professionalism in my work.
Oh, definitely, definitely.
I, it's so. That was a long-winded answer, wasn't it? But it's
No, it's
just
great. As I
I
said,
don't yeah, I don't
keep
really have
talking.
any regrets whatsoever. I've been through worse in my
Good.
life. I've
Good
been
to hear.
homeless. I've been penniless. I've
Yeah.
my mother disowned me. So it
Mhm.
although we kind of did make up in the end. So I've been, as you get older,
Oh,
you
good.
do become a little bit more cynical about things. That's just a natural
Hmm.
progression, I think. So I tend not to sweat the small stuff anymore. It's
Good.
because
Yeah.
it's not worth it. You know, from the film Annie, the sun will always come out tomorrow, and there'll always be another day, and
Yeah.
you can always, you may have made a mistake, but the best mistake from your best mistakes come, your best successes. So and if you
Yes.
learn
Yeah.
from them and you don't apply it again, then you've learned from it. If you keep reapplying those mistakes, then you've obviously not learned from it. Do you understand? I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. That's a brilliant
Yeah.
philosophy. 100%. Um, and and well, you took that like a step further actually because you talk about repercussions and I wouldn't worry. Repercussions of the odd swear word or
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah, I wouldn't worry. And you mentioned your husband as well, and that was going to be my next question. You see, he's always behind the camera, and he's there maybe a little bit more of like a balance to you.
Yes, he is.
Um, does and in your videos about say Valentine's fragrance or love fragrance, you can get quite edgy in your comments. Does he ever is he ever there going,
No,
ooh,
no,
no, or is he all for it?
he look, we've been together 21 years now. And we're still, and what keeps our marriage alive actually is, still learning about each other. I think in the last
Mhm.
year, he's learned a hell of a lot more about me in YouTube. It's, and he sometimes he just rolls his eyes, and sometimes he's just there smiling, or sometimes he's just there winking, and we
Yeah.
if ever you meet us, we are such a good balance together. It's quite unreal.
Oh, I'd love to
In
meet you
some
at some point.
stages we are opposite, but then in some things we are so alike, and in some things in what we like,
Yeah.
and and thankfully our politics is the same, but that's another issue. But
Oh,
yeah, so
that's something I'd love to talk to you
yes,
about privately because you sound like you've got a brilliant politics,
yes.
political
Well, I
views, sorry.
suppose
Yeah,
really, yeah. I always like to. I'm the underdog. I'll fight for injustices and all of that. So yeah, that's another issue.
absolutely. Best way to do things, definitely. No, well, your marriage sounds like something for everyone that everyone wants to strive for, and when looking for a
Don't
happy
get me
marriage, and that
wrong.
your
Yeah, we
relationship with your husband
we've had our
Sounds
bad days,
lovely.
but we never go to bed on an argument, ever. If we ever argue,
No.
we we communicate. That is the key, is communication.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to repeat what I've gone through as a child, seeing what happened with my parents. So I've learned from that.
No.
I'm communicating with my husband. We're talking. If something is wrong, we talk about it. We don't just sit there and let it fester, and then it becomes. Then start to become bitter, and then
The
yes,
bigger
and then you
issue.
start to blame each
Yeah.
other for small things that are then blown out of proportion. No, you talk about it now, and we'll sort it out. We may agree to disagree on certain things, but we are still there. The
Mhm.
love is still there. So
Well, surely the key to a happy marriage is to be able to have those fallouts or those, those arguments in order to kind of then learn that your marriage or your relationship is strong enough to bounce back from those, or just to sweep them aside and,
yes,
and carry on.
exactly.
Um, I feel like surely these are like the structures and the strongholds that kind of renew your
Yeah,
faith in the relationship, that you can have
yeah,
these arguments and just
yeah.
completely
And
be able
he's
to move
been
on from it.
extremely
Um,
supportive
so
throughout my journey on my YouTube channel. He doesn't know when it comes to things like the editing side and all the apps and doing all of that side of it. I've kind of learnt a lot more about myself doing that, because I was always a bit of a technophobe. I thought, no, I can't do this. I'm never going to be able to do that.
okay, yeah.
But now I feel more, it's given me more confidence, actually. And my husband, he said to me, wow, he said, I never thought I would see you doing this app and doing that app, and all of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've if anything, it's taught me how not to be a technophobe.
Yes. Yeah. Well, YouTube's great for that. YouTube yeah, it's
Yes,
amazing for that. And kind of helping you because it's so easy. It is really so easy just to get a video uploaded and put in your title, put in your description. But at the same time, it's there's enough difficulty in order to kind of give you hints and aids in maybe how to do slightly more
yes.
intricate or detailed stuff. Like, you're doing your live streams now
Yeah,
quite
well,
fairly
I've done a
regularly, which is
couple. I
great.
just thought, no, I'm just going to go on StreamYard and go for it, and I just did an impromptu
Yeah,
live. Well, not an impromptu. I did, advertise it for the day before, and then just went and did it. And I've done a couple since then on my own. But then again, I do lives with Dawn and Cassandra from across the pond, and Francis.
yeah.
Francis joined in, um, and it would be great to do a collaboration live here in the UK with a few, YouTubers. So who knows?
Absolutely. Yeah.
There's. I just love it.
Yeah, it is great. It is great. And it's mixed with so many things, meeting with people, learning about the
Yes.
community, as well as learning how to kind of work technical things. And even this, as we're doing this podcast, it's been a journey in making kind of um, graphics and things like that. I mean,
Yes.
that's what I'm
Right.
studying in right
Yes.
now a lot to do. I mean, I write my own music, and it's a lot of it's
Wow.
music for me,
Yeah.
but graphics is also quite an interesting part of it, and so that's been good. But as we've had today, just a couple of teething issues in this cutting out just because of a phone overheating and things like that. But it's learning, and I'll hopefully never have to
Yes.
have that
Yes.
again, or have to deal with something like that again. That's next time I'll just know that I have to
Yes.
wrap my head
Yes.
around that. Just
Exactly.
there's this. So there we go. Those are points to work on. But before we kind of start to move towards the
Yeah.
end of things, I'd like to ask one more question about your
Yeah. No, that's
husband, if
okay.
you don't mind. Because as I've learned is that he is quite a large role in what you're doing in
Yeah.
terms of support. Is he interested in fragrance, or is he someone that just kind of
This is the
not so
thing.
interested?
This is probably where he and I are completely opposite. He he would
All
just
right. Okay.
have, well, maybe he's starting to learn a little bit more now, but he would obviously just be this one fragrance guy, and that is it. That is it. When I first met
Okay. Yeah.
him, he didn't even, God forbid, wear a fragrance. It was like it was a shock
Right.
horror.
Okay.
So, and I remember his one of his first fragrances he ever had was by Yves Saint Laurent, which is, I don't know if you've tried it, Kouros. I said to him, smell this, and he really liked it, and that was his signature for a long time. And also he
Right.
has worn other fragrances. He's worn Chanel Egoiste, Pour and I actually
Okay.
do
Yeah.
wear that from time to time. Now, this is where we're different, because I sometimes do wear male fragrances. He has a job understanding that.
Hmm.
It's really difficult. He said, I don't. He said, why are you wearing a man? That's a man's fragrance. No, darling, it's marketed towards men,
Uh,
but I'm wearing
yes.
it
It's
because
all
I
marketing.
love it. If you don't
Yeah.
like it, tough cheddar, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm trying
Yeah.
to educate him in that kind of realm, but he's slowly starting to come round, I suppose. But he, I think secretly deep down, he does want to, have more fragrances. I mean, he has got quite a few fragrances now. He's got Givenchy, Chanel, mostly designer. This is the thing, you see, because my content,
Okay.
um, I mostly review mostly celebrity or designer. I've not really gone into that niche realm. I'm not even sure I want to go into the niche
Oh, it's an
realm. I
expensive realm.
know this is the thing. And
Yeah.
I think there has been not a stigma, but some people do have a bit of a stigma against designer fragrances versus niche. And I want
Yes.
to
Yeah. Yeah.
like release that stigma, because I love designer fragrances. There are some, I mean, if I want to smell generic, I will smell generic. It's that's why fragrance is
Yes.
subjective. I know I'm going off on a bit of a tangent here, but it's
No, honestly, as I said, go off on as many
but
tangents as you want.
I
It's great.
and if you've got the money as well, like you say, like you spoke about, the budgeting side of it, if you've got the money to spend £200-300 on
Mm.
a niche fragrance, then go for it. If you're comfortable in your realm to do it, then that's absolutely fine. I'm not, we're not
Mm.
millionaires by no means.
No,
And my hard-earned
God
cash,
no.
what I will earn, I will spend on what I like. So that said, even if I did have
Mhm.
more money, would I spend that money on a niche fragrance? I'm not absolutely certain I would, actually, if I'm being honest, Joe. I I I I don't
Okay, yeah.
know. But again, you see, but you get a lot of niche fragrances out there that do have samples, so you can sample it, which is a good thing. Because designer fragrances, you
Yes.
can't really do
Yes.
that. You can't sample a designer fragrances. You go into a shop and you ask for a sample. That's like asking the sales assistant for giving you £50. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
It's like gold dust. So I just
Yes.
wish designer fragrances would,
Yeah.
because they can if they wanted to. And I have seen samples behind the counter of fragrances. But it's just not given readily, which is a shame, really, because I think, if fragrance, it is subjective, and if you want to purchase something, you are purchasing something with your own money, and you don't want to spend something like £100 and then go home and think to yourself, well, that was a waste of money. You don't want to be like that.
No, of
So, but
course
no,
not.
my husband, he is gradually learning about fragrances, and he is in the background there when I talk about fragrances. We have it all on a big screen, and it's all in different
Yeah.
pages. I'm not one of these people that can just do it by memory. Sometimes I can, but I just like to do it like that, so to speak. So he is in the background there,
Yes. Yes.
although he's just too shy to come into the camera. So, and that's the thing. I have asked him on occasion to come with me
No.
into a video, and he just won't. That's where he and I again are different. He is quite painfully shy, whereas, as you can probably gather, I'm not. So,
Okay.
yeah, so there we go.
Yeah. Well, no, it's nice, and the way you kind of talk and come across is, and this is in no way. I'd love to clarify that I am in no way saying that anyone that can afford and does spend money on these
No, none
fragrances is a
whatsoever.
bad person.
Yeah,
But what I'm about to say could sound like I'm mean, but I'm not. But it is about that materialistic thing, and there's niche fragrances that I absolutely love, but I'm a student and I am no way growing up in like a rich family,
yeah,
or I'm no way got a job that's earning me hundreds and hundreds of thousands, whatever. I spend my money, and the other thing is, fragrances just isn't my only interest, as it won't be yours. As I'm sure you have products and things that you'll need to keep on buying
yeah,
for for beauty, and whatever
yes,
other interests you have. Um, and I think it is just that, is it's the balance. And I'm always happy to take suggestions on YouTube as what fragrances to review, but it is the stigma. And were you, just to clarify, when you were saying that it's hard to get samples, were you
no,
saying niche is hard to get niche
designer.
samples?
Yes, yeah, I think,
Designer sample, right? Okay.
it is hard to get this. I mean, maybe I haven't looked that good enough to get samples for it, but coming from a retail background,
Okay, yeah.
working behind the counter, it's
Yes,
so
yeah.
hard you have a perfume there. You have a tester there, obviously, but if somebody wants to take a little sample
Yeah,
away, they've only
yeah,
got it on a blotter. They can't really do something like
exactly.
that. They need the actual sample itself, and we haven't got those, so it's difficult to
Hmm.
give to the customer. And I'm sure
No,
that it could be done, but of course, it all comes down to the financial side of things. I think that plays a big role in things.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, yep. And it's also I don't think I have the confidence really to sometimes I just don't have the confidence to actually go up and ask sometimes, because especially with my age, it seems like many shops I go into, people it's I mean,
Yeah,
again, this is right before lockdown again, but there's people more wary of people that are younger. There's the wariness that you're
I
there to maybe
know,
steal or to take advantage of something. And honestly, I
I
just wish I
know.
could. I'm not going to say, look, I've got a YouTube channel, so I promise I'm not taking advantage of you. But I understand that thing of maybe seeing me and thinking, right, so is he just
Yes,
coming in for some free perfume?
yes, yeah,
And it really
exactly.
wouldn't be that.
Yeah.
But it's difficult. So I like that confidence to go up and say, no, look, I'm not. I'm not. Um, but yeah, well, thank you for this.
Thank
I'd love
you.
to just end it on some kind of
Yeah.
more trivial note. A little game that I decided I might try and come up with. You may have saw it when I sent you a brief idea of what I was thinking of how to structure this. But well, this, as I've said, this could be a complete train wreck. Just something I came up with,
Right.
but it could be fun. And I think I'd like to maybe compare it to what other people then do as we move through different guests and new people. Um, Feel free to skip
Okay.
letters, but I wanted to see if we were
Okay.
to go through the alphabet and you just say the first kind of fragrance
Oh,
that you
wow.
enjoy for each letter that kind of comes to mind. And if there's a letter that you just can't, that just doesn't, spring to mind,
Okay.
then just skip
Okay.
past it. That's absolutely fine. But I think it could bring
Okay.
some interesting
No
conversation
problem.
to
Go
end with.
ahead.
So, you want to start with A?
Oh gosh. Arden, Elizabeth Arden. I don't know why I said Elizabeth Arden. I don't even use Elizabeth Arden.
Right, okay.
I
Do you know
do,
people
I
that do
do.
then? Is that
Pat,
why
if
it
she
keeps
ever
reminding you just
listens
a
to this,
random?
I don't know if you have subscribed to her. She's in Georgia. She's in Georgia,
I think I have for you, yeah.
and she hates Elizabeth Arden Red Door. And so if I ever mention Elizabeth Arden Red Door, she'll probably laugh at that. So yeah, but so A for Arden. Okay,
Really?
there we go. That was
Okay.
random.
Yes.
B,
You want to move on
Burberry.
to B then?
Burberry
Burberry,
Black.
right, okay.
But
And
yeah,
is
Burberry
something
Black.
that you
Yes,
you
I
had
quite like. Yeah.
Burberry Black, right? Oh, two B's. You don't have to name a company either. You could just name any perfume that starts with whatever
What
letter of the
anything that's
alphabet. So
perfume related, you mean?
I just
Right.
anything
Okay.
that's part exactly. That's it. That's it. Just something that first thing that springs to mind. As I said, this could be an awful
Okay.
idea, and feel free to tell me. And I'll
Okay.
not continue to do it. But
C.
yeah, there you go.
Well,
C.
everybody would say Chanel, wouldn't they? But I'm not a Chanel girl. I'm not a Chanel girl, so
Yes.
I'm going to say
Oh, yeah, right,
Cacharel.
okay. Ooh, okay. Again, my ignorance is starting to come in, but I've
Right.
never
Well,
smelled anything from
an
Castorel,
A and
and
A,
I don't think my mum
Eden.
has
There we
used
go.
anything from Castorel. Yes, okay. Is this
Eden.
Eden
It's
perfumes
a
as in the?
perfume from Cacharel. Yes, yes.
Oh, it is. It is. Sorry. Okay, that's the reason I got confused is I did a little video on a company called
Ah,
Eden that
right,
create
right.
like vegan
No,
and
it's not that.
eco-friendly stuff. No, so we'll do that for
D.
E, then D.
D.
Oh, F. Sorry. What am I?
Oh, we've done
Confusing
D and
E,
E,
F.
have we? Okay. F, D.
Did we do
Davidoff.
D?
There we go. Davidoff. Yeah, good old Davidoff.
Dav. So is that something that you
I
have?
quite like
Anything
I
from
quite
Davidoff,
like
or
that
is it
smell. I quite
your
like it's a bit of
husband's?
old school and I quite like that.
Okay. I'm writing down the alphabet now because I'm awful
D
at just jumping right. So
E
we've done A, B, C,
F.
D, E, F,
Well,
or E.
Eden by Cacharel, yeah.
Sorry. Eden. Yeah. There we go.
Yeah.
Saved it.
F.
Yes. F.
Gosh. F. Oh, now I'll have to skip that one. Yes, I'll skip that one.
Shall we skip F?
G. Oh,
Okay, so we're on to G
Givenchy.
now.
Yes,
Now, I know you
yes.
talk about them quite a lot on your lives. So at least on your lives that when you do, because you do like a little circle, don't you? Like you run around and um a round robin, shall we say, and then you each kind of, I don't, depending on what the subject is, you'll then go take it in turns to name a perfume or to do
Yes,
like a
yes,
mini
yes.
review of the
Yeah, that's
perfumes
right.
related to the topic
Yes.
that you're talking about. And so I think you mentioned Givenchy quite a lot on there. Do you have an
Hermes.
H? Oh, now something I need to try and get a little bit better at pronouncing is. So do you roll almost like a roll an
Well, the
H?
French don't pronounce the
Hermes,
H,
or is it the
so
R?
yeah, so it's yeah,
Okay.
Hermes, Hermes. It's not. See, I can't do like a Spanish. The Spanish
Hermes.
do like I can't do that. It's more like a.
Okay.
If I'm coming to it like that, like the word sheep.
Well, it's quite a Scottish
Loch,
thing, isn't it? With
yes.
like Loch Lomond and see, not that obviously Hermes isn't obviously not a Scottish brand, but I think that is quite a common thing in Scotland is to Loch Lomond or Loch,
Yes.
which is just a lake, basically. Um, so that was H. I, anything
Isayaki.
for I? Wow, you're very good, aren't you? I'm realizing now. See, for next guest, maybe if I continue to do this, I'll maybe give
uh,
it to them in advance, or maybe just never do this again. But it's fun. Maybe this will be a game that only you have the pleasure of enduring. No, that's great.
J.
Okay,
J.
ending with a
Oh, Jean-Paul
J. God, that's
Gaultier.
awful, isn't it? Ooh. Now, is this
Both.
more
Both.
men's stuff
I
or
like both. I like
more
the
the?
original
Is it
Jean-Paul Gaultier.
both? Okay.
And I like the ultra male. I like the
Yeah.
ultra male. I quite like that. I don't
Uh-huh.
like the
Yeah.
intense. Um, I quite
I don't have much experience with Jean
yes.
Paul Gaultier actually, so
And I
couldn't
have quite
comment
a
on
few. I
those
have
things.
classique. I have the classique fragrance, and I have the So Scandal, but I don't like the original Scandal. Um,
Oh,
but yeah,
okay. So was it Jean
yes,
Paul Gaultier
yes.
that made Stand Out? Because what am I thinking of then? Am I thinking of what's the woman's perfume
You
in a
know,
heel bottle? Like
oh,
that
that's
looks like a high
Carolina
heel shoe.
Herrera. That's
Ah, right,
I
okay.
don't
Did they do
know.
anything called
Is it Good
Stand Out?
Girl? Is it? Yeah,
Okay, I'm just getting oh
yeah.
no, that rings a bell. Good girl, actually. Yeah, quite possibly. Um yeah, I'm just thinking of my
Yeah.
YouTube advert knowledge now. Anything K. Anything
Kenzo,
for K.
Kenzo, or Killian,
Ooh.
or Killian. You
You
could
are
do
very good at
Killian,
this. I'm
or even Katy
ooh.
Perry for a
Okay.
celebrity scent.
Okay.
I've
Does she you
yes.
own many Katy Perry stuff?
Is it
Many
Pearl?
Katy Perry. Much
It's like
Katy
it's a
Perry.
pretty cat. Yes, Pearl. So if you like a nice sweet fruity, yeah. If
Oh,
you like a
oh, because
nice
you're into your
sweet fruity
cats.
fragrance, then Katy Perry Pearl. That's really nice.
Wow, okay. Well, I've actually tried Ariana Grande
Have
Cloud
you?
as a woman's celebrity fragrance, which the reason I got that is because Jeremy Fragrance. I don't watch much of his stuff anymore.
Right.
No reason, just catching up on kind of more people that I'm talking to
Right.
in
Yes.
general on Instagram, such as yourself or Barry or whoever, But he had a phase, at least, of really recommending it, not
Oh,
just to women, but to men as well. And I thought, right, well, I'm gonna ask around girls I know,
yes.
see if any of them own it. And they did. I smelt it, and I didn't quite get the. I know it's marketed towards girls, but I didn't quite get the
Yeah.
feeling that it would work on me. Um, I wasn't a huge fan. Have
I
you
don't
smelt it?
think I have.
Right. Well, I won't try and influence your. It's quite a coconut
From Katy
like
Perry.
smell.
From
But
Katy
I
Perry.
don't know. I don't know.
Oh, sorry. I do
Oh
beg your
no,
pardon.
sorry. This is
Ariana Grande.
Ariana Grande's
Cloud. No,
Clouds.
I have smelt that. No, I have smelt that. No,
You have. Did you like it?
unfortunately not. It's
No.
no.
Okay. Whew.
Some like it, but for me, it's a no. For me, it's a
Okay. Right. I'm
no.
glad because I was kind of dissing it. Okay.
Oh,
So we've done KL.
well, we've got, wow, you've got Al's, you've got a lot. You've got Lancôme, Lolita
There's a lot, isn't there?
Lentica,
Yeah.
L'Occitane en
Yeah.
Provence, although that's more of skincare. Um, Lalique, Lalique is another one.
Okay.
Uh, the famous L'Oreal,
Yes. Yeah.
who own so much.
Yes.
um,
Yes. Yes.
yes,
Absolutely. Everything seems to be owned by them now. Yeah. L'Oreal. Not just. Well, I always thought of L'Oreal as being quite a female orientated
yes,
beauty fragrance kind of house
yes,
or marketing company, but
they
really
have.
they've
Yes,
really moved
they've
into
got,
male stuff now as well.
they have the premium brands within L'Oreal as well. And actually, Decléor Skincare, who I
Hmm.
used to work for, who was owned by Shiseido. Have you heard of Shiseido? Or Shiseido, which was a Japanese company. Um, they used to own Decléor
Yeah, I'm
until they
sorry, I
then
haven't.
sold it a
No.
couple of years ago to L'Oreal. Um, and I've used Decléor skincare for
Okay.
years and years on and off. And actually, watch this space. I'm just going to say that here and now. Watch this space. So I'm doing a bit of a tease, a bit of a
Okay.
tease.
Yeah. Will do. Will do. Okay.
M,
So
M,
anything for M?
Mugler.
M
Yes.
Mugler, right, of course. And
Or
so look, we're looking at
Alien.
Alien
Of course, Angel. Um,
Angel?
Womanity.
Angel? Yeah,
Now
of course.
that's a fragrance that is, I like it, but not many people can pull that fragrance off because it's got fig and caviar in it.
Okay.
Uh, yes. Well,
Caviar.
obviously
Wow.
it's a
I've never
fantasy
ever
note.
smelled
It's,
anything with
it's a,
caviar in it.
what they've done is they've obviously
Yeah.
tweaked it somehow.
So how does that work? Does it
No,
actually give it at all
it's
fishy, or is
sweet.
it what is it?
Pardon the pun, but it's sweet and salty. That's the only way I can
Okay,
describe it.
yeah,
If you like Olympia by Paco Rabanne, then you may like it. It has that bit
yeah.
of a beachy vibe
Okay,
to it. So I mean, it doesn't smell.
right.
It doesn't
And that's
smell fishy
Womanity, is
on
it?
me at all. I want to look fishy. I don't want to smell fishy. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I don't think fishy is anything that
no,
any
no,
perfume company
no.
should really be striving for, I don't think. Um, no, that's
Yeah.
something to
Or you've got
stay away
Marc
from, I would
Jacobs.
say. Um, okay,
Marc
N, on to N.
Jacobs.
Mark, oh, now this is a company again that I need to start trying to delve into a little bit. I'm very new to a lot of this stuff, so a lot of these kind
Yes.
of big companies I just haven't even really
Yes.
looked at much. So Mark Jacobs is
Yeah.
that's a good shout. That's a good shout. Maybe I need to look into them a bit more.
Yes.
Because they do
Yeah.
Daisy. He
I
does
don't
Daisy, doesn't
wear
he?
any of Marc
Daisy.
Jacobs fragrances. They're not my style, but I appreciate them. There's probably only one that I like, and that is Decadence. Decadence by Marc Jacobs. That's a
Decadence, right?
gorgeous, got a
Okay.
gorgeous plum scent. Um, yeah, it's really, really nice. Yeah.
Mm. plum. Yeah,
Yes.
his bottles are great as well. Or his. I mean, I don't know if it is him
I think
anymore or
they're
how
owned by
it's run
Coty.
really.
Don't quote me on that, but I think, Coty own a lot of
Right. Okay.
perfume brands as well.
Yes.
Yes.
Hugo Boss. A lot of Hugo Boss stuff is. Yeah.
N,
So anything
uh,
for N?
or Narciso Rodriguez, or that's Emendar, or
Right. Okay.
Nukes is another French skincare, but as French skincare, or Nina Ricci. Uh,
Nina Ricci. Right. Okay.
or is there
I'm
another
taking stuff
brand
down
called
here. Don't worry. I'm writing
Nasamato?
things down.
Is that a niche brand? Yes.
Nasamato. Yeah. That is. I've not. I smelly. Oh my God. Do you know what? It's in this moment I have literally Tim. I'm sorry, Tim, if you listen to this. I'm very sorry. Tim from Smelly Swede has a lot of well, I don't know if he has a lot. I know he's got a couple of Nasamato fragrances, and they have these beautiful caps or
Oh,
tops that are made of cork,
yes.
or at least they're made to look like cork. And yeah, they look beautiful, but they're very, very expensive. But I'd be interested in sampling if I can. This is something I want to look at, but I don't think Notino currently are stocking any
Right.
Nasamato fragrances and therefore aren't selling or
Right.
distributing any samples. But I don't know.
Yes, it
Nasamato in
is. I
general
think it
is
is.
a
Yes,
unisex
it's
company, aren't they?
a unisex brand.
Yeah.
All their fragrance.
Yes. Yeah. Generally. Yeah.
Oh. Well,
Anything
let's
for
go with an
O?
oldie but a goodie, shall we? Old Spice. Yeah. What
Old
my dad would
Spice.
wear.
Yes. Well, I think I tell you what, it may be an oldie, but I'm getting all sorts of adverts on YouTube for some man standing with a towel wrapped around his
Yeah.
middle area and
Oh,
spraying Old Spice under his
yeah, I
arms and
know. I
in
know.
his face.
Maybe it is having a
So
comeback.
maybe it's
Yeah.
on a comeback.
Is that
Maybe it's on a
splash
comeback.
effect? Do you still splash it on, or it's like, is it an aftershave splash? I don't, rather than a
Um,
atomizer.
it could be. It sounds like it probably is one of those. Yeah, it very, very possibly could
Yeah.
be. That's denim style. I love denim. Denim original. Yeah. No. Okay. Maybe another one to check out.
P.
Anything for
Well,
P?
you got Paco Rabanne,
P. Hmm.
famous designer brand.
Of course. Yeah.
I don't know why I was going to say Prada.
Have you tried any of
Prada
the?
as well. Yeah.
Sorry, can't. Prada. Yes. Yeah. You try any of the
I
Lady
like it, but
Millions? Do you
it's
have any
not
Lady
my
Million?
style. I prefer Olympia, and that was a
Okay.
fragrance that actually grew on me.
No.
Um, and yeah, I do like my.
Okay.
I know some people knock it, but I like Black Excess. I like the men's Black Excess as well as the ladies' Black Excess. From Paco Rabanne. I quite
Yes.
like that.
Yes.
Um,
I've been quite reluctant on Black Excess, not because not for no other reason than if I buy it, is it gonna be and I wear it, is it gonna be overused by people that maybe
well,
smell it and just go, "That's boring." Because the thing is, I love Black Excess, and I
yes,
shouldn't be worrying about that. And generally, I don't, but it's one of these things. It's a purchase
yeah.
I need to
Well, I
make,
remember what
or
12,
because I do
14
really
years
like
ago,
it.
everybody was wearing it then when it came out. I think it's gone through a phase where probably
Yeah,
maybe not many people are wearing it as much as they used to. So you never know. You could be in that niche minority now and revive it.
yeah, exactly. Shame we don't not yet to have enough followers
Yes.
to maybe um boost recurrence of
Yes.
a fragrance. But we'll get to that point, won't we? It's a journey. And just going back to what you said earlier, I'm definitely not in this for kind of the whole
Yes.
it's
Yes.
that kind of
Yes.
non-materialistic part of me makes me think it is just for fun, and I'm just
Exactly.
loving meeting the people that I've met so far. And if
Exactly.
people
Yeah.
continue to watch my stuff, then it's nice. But um, yeah, great philosophy that I'm definitely going to take from this from you.
Well, that's a hard
But
one.
now we're on to
Well,
Q. Now
maybe
this
it's
could
not
be
a
very quick.
Oh,
shall we? I realized
no,
this could be
no,
really cruel, and I
no,
hope you're
it's
not
not.
like
No,
stressing
no.
over it. This is just
Um,
um
oh,
putting you on the spot.
Queens, from Bond number 9. That's a fragrance. Yeah, there's a fragrance called, I'm sure it's called
Right,
Queens
okay.
Bond number
Wow.
9. Um, Fab Finds by Keitra. If Keitra is listening to this, Fab Finds by
Love their
Keitra.
bottles.
She's a Bond number 9 fanatic, I think, so she'll probably know what I mean. So yeah, so their
Is she?
fragrances.
Yeah,
Actually I
right,
do
okay.
own a bottle of Bond number 9, which is, I suppose, a niche fragrance. I suppose it's classed as niche.
Do you? Right,
Yeah,
okay.
well, whatever I just see it as fragrance. But
Yeah.
yeah, I do have a bottle of
Yeah.
B9. But yeah, Queens. So Queens from Bond number 9.
Queens. Well done. Very well done. I'm very happy I'm not the one that was
Oh,
being asked that.
uh,
R?
R,
Maybe for
R,
R?
R. This is where I roll my R's like a farmer. Um, uh, oh gosh, Ralph Lauren, or yeah, or Rihanna,
Ralph Lauren, very
or oh
good.
no, it's coming to me
Yes.
now. Roberta Cavalli,
Okay, another celebrity.
uh, Rituals, although that's a skincare, but
Mm-hmm.
they do fragrance as well. Um, yeah, Rosa Salas,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Rosa Salas.
No, I
Remembering
haven't.
Rosa
No, I
Salas. Have you
haven't. No,
tried it? Have you
I've
tried
seen
any of
Barry
Vito's stuff?
and Tony review Rosa Salas, yes, but I haven't tried any.
Hmm. Okay, so we're now on to
Oh,
S. So
Serge
I imagine
Lutens.
there's a few things.
What Serge
I
Lutens?
say
Sarah
that, but
just yes,
okay.
it's a
Hmm.
French brand.
Is
Serge
that French?
Lutens. It's
They
a
sound very
niche brand.
French.
Well, a niche brand. It's. Have you not tried
French
any
one.
Serge Lutens? No, it is quite.
I
He
haven't.
does a lot
Again,
of lovely fragrances. Datura
lack of
Noir,
con
Saint Majuscule, quite some beautiful fragrances, and of course Fils de Joie. You've also got Sarah Jessica Parker. You've got Sisley, which is a French, that's more skincare.
hmm
Just trying to think what else. What else have we got?
hmm
Salvatore Ferragamo. Yeah, I've never tried any of
Very good shout.
those.
Very, very good shout. I'm sorry, I'm staying quiet here. I'm just enjoying hearing you go through it
Yeah,
and talking. Yeah, no, there's I'm sure we could think of so many things if you just stayed in.
yeah,
Oh yeah, you could talk about
yeah. It has so
there's
many.
so many brands. I'm saying that, and I'm realizing how stupid what I just said was, given that we've just gone through the alphabet. I mean, every single fragrance in the world is going to be in. Okay, jeez, oh, right, that was yeah. I might even have to cut that out. That was so
T.
stupid. No, I'll
Tom
keep that
Ford.
in. Tea.
Yes,
Tea. Tom Ford. Tom Ford. I I'm gonna be doing a sample haul. I think I've got to Tom Ford because he's got some
yes,
brilliant looking stuff. Um, that's he is obviously their fragrances are drop my pencil. Obviously their
they
fragrances are
are.
quite expensive. But some of them sound amazing. But the good thing about sampling is that you find out whether or not they
Yes,
really are as amazing as people say they are, and or in my opinion, anyway. So I'd be interested in doing a little sample of all this stuff.
yes.
But have you
I've
tried
tried the
any
infamous
of Tom
Black
Ford?
Orchid. It's not to my taste. I can appreciate it, but it's not for me. I've tried white.
Okay.
I actually owned a bottle of white patchouli, but I
Hmm.
didn't like it. I love patchouli, but I didn't like that fragrance. It was too. Oh, it was just too pronounced. It really was really strong, too herbally and too aromatic for
Hmm.
me. Um, those are the only two that I've tried. Oh, and I have
Right. Okay.
Noir. I have Noir de Noir, which I like, but it's not a huge love for me. But I know Dawn, bougie fragrance from across the pond, Black Orchid.
Okay.
I think she bought the whole
Hmm.
consignment of it. She has about half a dozen, but she has about a dozen bottles of it because she loves Black Orchid so much. Yeah,
Really?
yeah,
Wow. Yeah. No, it's great when you can really get into a line, isn't it? I mean, maybe not, the wallet cries, but when you can properly get into a line like that, it's I'm lucky enough to be able
yeah,
to maybe just stay away from the more expensive stuff, but just get into a particular line of cheaper things. As it, like I just said there, Banana Republic there, it's not so much like a line of fragrances, but they're no, sorry, not so much like a line of flankers, but their line of fragrances are, there's not a single one I dislike, no more the ones I like more than others, but
Yes, yeah.
it is great when you can properly just get stuck into a particular,
Oh,
to a
yeah.
particular.
Do you know what?
So you,
I don't think. I think I'm going to be stumped for the first time. I can think of
yes,
skincare
yeah,
and I can
you,
think of cosmetics and makeup, but you've got Urban Decay, but that's makeup. Uriage, that's French skincare. Oh, UTAN, that's self-tan. What about United Colors? What about Benetton? United Colors of Benetton? No, I don't know if they've got fragrances or not. Do they? I suppose Benetton's more B. You can't. But they're called
couldn't
United
tell you.
Colors of Benetton, though, aren't they? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah.
My ignorance is coming through again. Really is. No, I tell you, I've heard of it. I heard of them. Sorry, is it Benetton the company? Yeah, and then it's
Yes. Yeah, maybe
United
United.
Colors of
Yeah.
Benetton, a
I'm
fragrance
pretty
from them.
sure I've used in the past a fragrance from Benetton. It's called United Colors of Benetton. I'm pretty sure it is. Yes.
But it's a great name, so I hope it is. I hope that is the name. It's a great name.
Versace
Okay, right. So
or
V then.
Victor and Rolf. Victor and Rolf.
Yes,
Yes, or the infamous Victoria's
the list endless,
Secret.
isn't it, for them?
Yeah, they do. They do.
Ooh,
Yes,
because
I've
they do body
actually
sprays and
got a
stuff.
couple of their body sprays, which is fine for just a spritz and go. But they're
Okay,
not long lasting. They don't perform. They don't perform. No, no, no.
yeah, they did not last. Right, okay. That was quite a popular thing for
Yes,
kind of girls when
yes.
in high school and things. That a lot of girls had towards, or I'm not sure if it was Ann Summers. It was Hollister as well. That those kind of things, body sprays, they were popular. Yeah, and so
Oh,
that's just very
W.
much
Oh
near the end.
gosh.
W,
No, I
anything
think
with
I'm going to be
W.
completely stuck on W. Yes.
W's a tricky one, isn't it? And
I think of Wella. That's a hair
if I were to
care.
think W,
Um,
yeah, looking around my collection, I don't think I can
uh,
actually find anything W.
oh,
No.
Womanity. Yes, Womanity. Yes,
Womanity, Womanity.
Womanity.
There you go. Okay. Yeah, the only
Yes.
reason I remember that is because I've written that down there because it's something I'd like to try from your description of it.
Oh gosh.
Already done W. X. Anything about X?
Oh, hang on.
Yeah,
There
this
is a
could be a
niche
skip.
one. Is it called
Very much could be.
Is it got an X in it? Zerjoff?
Oh,
Zerjoff?
yes,
Yeah. Yeah, I've never tried
Jar
any of their
Jarov.
fragrances.
No, neither have I because they're very, very expensive. But Tim has quite the collection of them as well. I seem to recall. Um, I've got Tim's. I always use him for
Yes.
reference when I talk
Oh
about like
gosh, yes.
incredible collections of fragrances.
Oh, yes.
That's where his shelves are like a
Yes.
museum
And his reels on
of
Instagram. I love
fragrances.
his reels
Um,
on Instagram.
but
He's famous for that, I think.
he's brilliant, isn't he? Oh,
Yes.
need to get him on to talk about how to do
Yeah.
those. Then Gabby, you know what? It'll be me and you doing them soon enough.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe you'll
Yeah,
get your
it
husband.
might
Maybe
be.
your husband's
Yeah.
confidence will come out when it comes to
Well, he's a good
dancing
dancer.
and
He is a good dancer. And actually, that's how I met him through
who
dancing.
knows?
Yes. Yeah, because I used to dance a lot.
Is
So
he
obviously, when I saw him on the dance
great? Okay,
floor, I thought, yes, there we go.
sounds like I need to learn to do some dancing then because I am utter crap at dancing. So that was X. Y. Anything? Oh,
Well,
you've
you've
got
got
some great ones to hear
Yves
for
Saint
Y.
Laurent. Yes, that's a famous Y, isn't it?
Am I thinking Yves Saint Laurent?
Or Y, is it Y by Yves Saint Laurent?
That is, yeah.
Z,
And
Z.
so that's Y. So final one is Z.
Oh, yes, zoologist. No, I've
Zoologist
not
I can
tried
think of.
anything.
But
Oh, tell a
again,
lie. I
not
have
tried
tried
anything
one
from them.
thing from them. Is it called Bat? Oh, I couldn't. I couldn't. I couldn't.
Have you?
I couldn't. I tried it.
Quite
It was
possibly, because it is
like I'd
zoologist.
rolled around in a dirty, like skanky forest. Sorry if anybody likes
Oh,
that out there, but it was no, no, it was no. I couldn't. No, I had to try it because I thought, yes, this might be a real nice vampy fragrance.
dear me.
No sweetness whatsoever. No, no.
Hmm.
It's no, not for me. So, oh,
Mm,
I've just thought of a brand. Is it Zadig and
sounds
Voltaire?
familiar.
This is him, is
Why?
it? This is him.
It rings a bell. It
Yeah,
honestly
this is
does.
him, and this is
What did
her.
he? Is it fragrance
I'm
they do though?
sure Paola
Is it? Oh,
Bianco,
okay.
she loves Zadig and Voltaire. I think she's reviewed. This is her, yes.
Zadig and Voltaire.
Yes,
Yes. No, you're right. You're right. Wow. Well done. I just looked
yes,
it up and oh
yes.
God, their bottles are
Quite
also really nice.
simplistic.
I honestly, when I talk, I'm
Yeah,
such a consumer. Yes, absolutely love that simplistic style. Again,
yes.
going back to Banana Republic, all their fragrance bottles are really nice and simplistic.
Thank you.
Um, well, that's the alphabet done. So thank you so much, Gabby. I really appreciate it, and it really has been nice to talk to
And
you. This is my first time
yes,
talking to you, and I'm so glad I got to meet you through the platform of YouTube. Um,
well,
and as you said
I
earlier, I would
hopefully
love
will
to meet
come
you
up
in
north
person
and
at some point
see
in the future.
Chantal, and because she's in Northumbria, she's in Newcastle upon Tyne, so she's not far from Edinburgh. And my
Is she right? Okay.
when we went to Scotland last year, we never went to Edinburgh. Because of course where we were near we were only about half an hour from Inverness. So so it literally was it would have been a bit of a journey to go
Right.
to
Okay. Yeah.
Edinburgh from there, I think in a day. Um, but it's one place on our bucket list that
Yes.
we've
Absolutely. Yeah.
always looked at. I think, shall we go to an apartment here? And and but we've never done it as yet. So we've still got to tick that off our bucket list, and hopefully we'll come up and see you.
Well, I'm just an hour's train ride from Edinburgh, and it's a beautiful, beautiful city. It really is. And when you think about
Yes.
Scottish cities, I just love the kind of history it has.
We
Yeah.
did stop
Yeah.
off in,
Exactly. Well, it's
we have
quite a
friends in
journey to go from one
Ayrshire
end of the
in
country to
southern
Inverness
Scotland.
to the other end of the
So,
country.
in Ayr. Yes, a friend of mine, she's the owner.
Oh,
She's
right.
a nail educator and a nail technician. So I've known her for many years. So we went and visited her first.
Wow.
But we did love the north. We did love the north part of Scotland. The scenery was amazing, and it was just my husband and I would move to Scotland in a heartbeat if
Mm.
we could. If we could, that we would. That we've talked about it
Oh.
before, so who knows?
Who knows? Who knows? Because
Yes,
you said the same for France as well. And God, it'd be really interesting if you
yes.
ended up
Well,
moving to France to
I know
see a little
times
bit more of
have
the culture there as well. And
since
I
we
mean, I know,
left the EU,
but
unfortunately, it's difficult, but well, not difficult, but
I
you
know.
know, there we go, there we go. So, yes, yeah.
So it doesn't make it any easier. It doesn't make it any easier.
Okay, my
Yeah. Well,
pleasure.
thank you so much, Gabby, for coming on the podcast. We'll leave it here, and it's been
Yes,
a long time,
thank you, Joe,
and it's been
and
so great to
I
speak to you.
appreciate your
And thank you
time
so much for
too.
coming on the podcast. And I'm sure everyone will enjoy it.
Thank you.
Oh wow, well thank you so much once again to Gabby for coming on. So kind of her to do that, and I can only apologise once again for the major delays in audio in which we are having towards the end. Unfortunately, podcasts, it seems, are a little bit like baking. The first batch, unfortunately, you always have to learn from and change and tweak certain things, and that will be happening in the coming podcasts. I am searching for new ways to record remotely with two people without it doing that kind of delay that you have on, say on the news when you're watching, and there's always that big gap delay and then overlapping in voices. Yeah, it's a little annoying, and I'm really sorry to Gabby for having her podcast with on here being slightly altered by the delay, but thank you so much once again to her coming on. it did not take away one bit from the amount of fun I had, because whilst we were interviewing, you couldn't hear any delay. It's only when it processes you actually hear the delay. So thank you so much once again to Gabby, and thank you for listening to the first episode of Scent Stories. There'll be many more to come. If you would like to come on the podcast, or you know someone that you think you would like to come on, someone that you would like them to come on, then please let me know. You can message me on Instagram at Mr_Fragrance, or you can leave a comment on my YouTube channel, and that is Mr. Fragrance on YouTube as well. So thank you very much for watching and listening, and I'll speak to you and I'll see you next time on Scent Stories. Bye for now.